Everyone lives, everyone dies. Everyone loves, everyone cries. Round the world alive. So why is there war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one tide. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, make peace, make peace, peace. Alright, isn't it time when to stop dying? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all feel. Everyone lives, everyone dies. Everyone loves, everyone cries. Round the world we're all alive. So why is there war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one tide, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, make peace, make peace, peace. Alright, isn't it time to stop dying? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, in peace, in peace. Alright, make peace, peace together. Peace. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me on Between Two Worlds Shadow Chasing program. It's been crazy out there, like you can believe. I mean, my God. We've had Hurricane Fiona here in Nova Scotia and in the eastern provinces of Canada. We also had your storms up in Florida. and other locations. I mean, it's been going nuts. And we've had losses of lives in Nova Scotia, in the Nova Scotia region, New Brunswick, in that area. A lot of people lost their lives stuck in the houses. I guess they didn't think they would sink or float or like not go down, and the ocean took them. And there's lots of people. It's really bad. Um, and let's put it this way: there were sightings of in Florida, in the middle of the city, because the flooding is about 6 feet or so. There's actually sightings of alligators, crocodiles, as well as sharks. Sharks. So yeah, it's everyone for themselves, I guess, to survive. It's nuts. Well, you know what? Why I'm saying all this, because Trump did say, folks, last week he did say it's going to be the hardest 2 weeks ever that he's ever shared with you. And he said, brace for the worst ever. And he was talking about the hurricanes. He was talking about, no matter what name you name them, he was talking about the hurricanes that are going to come. He knew this because they are controlled. We already know that they're controlled by a specific organization, and I guess it's what they did. They were just put the big threat out there to see if anybody can survive. Now, um, it was hard. I mean, I remember when I did share with you guys last week, I said to you September 24th is going to be one of the biggest events that you'll never ever forget. And it did happen September 24th. So, you know, but again, what I will say, it wasn't as big as the tsunami in Japan, where over 1.5 million people had perished. Mind you, it could have gone that direction. It could have gone that direction, and no one ever would have known anything about it, or really believe the fact that that many people could have lost their lives. 1.5 million. Think about it, right? And how I know that, because a friend of mine from Japan lives there, or lived there, still lives there. She goes there 6 months there, back 6 months up here. And she said when she was there in the south side of Japan, because the north side is what actually was affected, they had the tsunami. Now, I was supposed to be there just before that tsunami happened in Japan. A friend of mine, Ron Bard, called me up, said, Derek, I need to come up here to Japan to read for corporate businesses. Myself, both him and he was very famous in New York. Both of us were supposed to go to Japan together, and I would have earned a great income doing this besides just reading for people. But someone's told me in the spirit world, don't go, and told me 3 nights straight not to go. And I didn't go. I told Ron I can't go because this something's going to happen really bad, and it's not going to be good. Ron said to me, well, is it going to affect me? I said, well, I don't see you get hurt. No, but for me, I'm not supposed to be there. I didn't know why, just wasn't supposed to be there. So I said, well, maybe I'll go with you again in August. Basically, it was supposed to be March and August, right? So it happened in March, where they had the tsunami. And 3 days after, when he did get there, after he landed, 3 days after, there was a tsunami in Japan. So the thing is that, I try to stay with my predictions, and if I feel something's going to happen, I will stay with it. I don't want to, think, oh well, yeah, it's possible, it could be, you know, and but anyways, oh, good, Coraline, you're in the room, my good girl. Okay, Coraline, we did send prayers out to her last week as she ended up in the hospital, folks. She ended up had a heart issue, and they put a pacemaker in her, and she's back home again. So our prayers, she's still here with us, and she'll always be with us. She's tough as nails. And she's been a follower of this program, and probably been a follower of my work for many years. So thank you for still being here, my dear. And it's wonderful to see you back in the chat room. That's Coraline, folks. So your prayers were heard. I guess, and people were sending a lot of prayers out to you and healing and making sure that you're still here. But again, you have a pacemaker, so that's going to take a while for you to get used to the idea of not having to pick up 5 pounds. It's going to take a while yet, at least 6 months or so before you can really do any major activity. But it's good. Good to see you're good. You're the second person that I've spoken to or know personally that another good friend had a pacemaker put in, but he was in the Edmonton Hospital in Edmonton, Alberta, and he was in the hospital that was I can't remember the name of the company, but this person, a very famous racing car company, they donated. I guess the hospital became that specific name. Starts with an M, I think, is Maserati. Maserati. And so our good friend ended up getting, I'm not going to mention his name because I don't think he really wants to be advertised too much, but he ended up in the hospital as an elder, but very wonderful singer, entertainer, storyteller. And he ended up in the hospital, and he says that in his videos, he said, "Oh, I got a Maserati heart. Now I can race faster." In the meantime, his Maserati, he'll be running faster than the regular cars. So, yeah, I wonder if she got a Maserati heart pacer too. I wonder. We'll see. So, like I said before earlier, we've had a lot of Hurricane Fiona. It came through and hit the eastern province of Canada. There is word, someone trying to say that BC may get hit too. No, it's not going to hit. I don't see it. That's me. But again, those predictions can be changed by a person turning on a switch and say, "Oh, we'll just get there. We'll go there too. We'll storm this place up." But I strongly feel that this particular East Coast hit with Hurricanes Fiona had something to do with the underground, the DUMBs, DUMBS, and there was something there probably that was never cleaned up enough, and they're making darn sure that nothing would survive down below. So, because apparently, what I understood, there is possibly that were maybe caught possibly submarines that were based there that didn't belong, that are non-Canadian, and that were not welcomed here. And so, I guess you say that's what happens, right? And I've been watching also some of the film that some of our political politicians, are trying to start wars with Russia. And so we had a politician in Australia that wanted to go to war with Russia and make this into a war. Why? Why would this one woman who is Chinese herself, think about it, who's she working for? Chinese herself wanted to go to war against Russia. Think about it. Because there's people, I got family in Australia. Nobody wants to go to war with Russia. So what's going on? Why are people wanting to make this a thing? Oh, we're going to support Ukraine, and Ukraine's going to go to war with Russia. There's going to be all kinds of people are volunteering now. They're lining up to go, and they're going to fight those Russians. Yeah, like why? Russia and Ukraine are still the same country, folks. It's the same country. They both speak the same language. So why are we having this? It's called a distraction. Distraction. Think about it. There were 38 silos that were blown up already by the Russians that had children inside that they rescued. They rescued them already months ago. And so what does Ukraine want to do? Oh, we still want to carry on because they blew up our silos. Yeah, they blew up your freaking nuclear stuff. That's why. They shut down your nuclear base. Ukraine had a nuclear base. So Russia went in there and shut it down. Well, not just Russia. Some UFO friends went down there, went, zip. No, you ain't going to do that. and they took care of it. I understand one thing, folks. You may not know this, but President Zelensky, you know, is not who you think he is. Okay, I've got photographs of this guy a couple of years ago before he became president. He was a member of a gay and lesbian organization, not even like gay and lesbian, it was some sort of a freaking weird organization. Someone called it a pedo club. And when I saw the pictures, I go, "Are you kidding me? Was this is just is it clip art? Somebody just put his face in there?" No, it's really him. That's his real person. That's who he really is. How in the heck did he become president of Ukraine? Well, because maybe he's George Soros's nephew. Think about it. Politics are family. That's how they get in, right? Politics are family. You get the good guys, you get the bad guys. Thank you guys for joining me on the Facebook chat room as well as YouTube. If you are unable to watch me on Facebook, go to YouTube. I'm on there. I'm just you'll see the little blue numbers and letters just above on the just above my chat room there on the Facebook. You can click on that. It takes you right to the chat room here in YouTube. So you can always seek me out both channels. You can't lose me, right? Down the road, I will be joining Rumble. Actually, I have joined Rumble, but I will probably be talking about having to probably start utilizing that page as well. Possibly or even doing live shows from there because at least you have a few sites that are still not wanting you to do, you know, according to their rules and regulations. They don't want you to say anything, to share any truths or, that sort of thing. But that's what happens. As of tomorrow, September the 30th, is Every Child Matters Truth Reconciliation Day. Some of you may not know what Truth and Reconciliation is. Those are Canadian citizens. It's all based on residents of school surviving, plus the story of residents of school survivors, Truth and Reconciliation. I was part of that back in 2008, representing our people. And there was over 250 of us from across Canada that gathered together at Calgary at the River Cree Resort. And I was one of the assistants in the program, not helping the government. It was our own people. And the workshops were good, except the government itself caused a lot of trouble, and they kept on being very controlling and mouthy and ignorant. Just it was not the greatest in the world. But, and the reason why I brought this up because I did another show yesterday from our radio station, and I got a few people very upset with me that I was actually telling the truth. They thought I had no idea what I was talking about. I do know what I'm talking about. I do my research deeply, deeply, deeply. You guys know me well enough. You come on my program, or else you wouldn't be following me. Some of you out there are probably going to say, well, how do you know, Derek? Prove it, prove it, prove it. Well, that's what I have been doing. I've been proving it, but I can't share any of that with you, either in Facebook or into YouTube, because they're going to throw it away. They don't want you to see or hear any of the truth about anything, really. There's even a lady friend of mine who did a recipe from her restaurant, shared a recipe into Facebook, and Facebook says under their new rules, you can't share recipes that relates to possibly copyright or the food may not be as you can't say the word healthy. This is getting to be worse and worse than ever and ever before and ever again. So I'm telling you, watch closely how you use the words. You'll see why. Facebook is on this roll right now to scare people. Well, we don't like this. You can't do that. You can't share this. They even took the blocking piece out. Like basically, you can't block people as much as you used to. They took it away. Why did they take it away? Because they don't want you to basically stop the people from chasing you around, from stalking you. You know that if you are being followed, even by Facebook, that is still considered stalking. Do you know that? They're following you everywhere you go. That's stalking. That is a Canadian law, folks. That's illegal. You can charge them for following you around and then telling you what you can't do. You can charge them. I guess they'd be crazy. They can't pull that. People like people love to try pull things, and it drives me freaking nuts. Anyways, crazy, right? If you guys ever want to find out really more regarding the missing Indigenous children that have been around for, like I said before, when on my program I talked about it yesterday. There's actually in Kamloops, at a residential school in Kamloops, they're supposed to have found 215 unmarked graves of children. Well, I did mention on that program there was not 215, there was 751. And like I said, I always question that, like, why? Well, I found out later, like, which made a whole lot of sense, from Kevin Annette, who's the one actually gave a great answer. And he said that the government told them that the government actually, what they do is they actually investigate themselves. So they're not going to tell you the complete truth. You may report so many times about a missing child, so many times about a missing woman, especially young girls, and the government will not look for them. They'll pretend they are, but they're not going to tell you. That's why you got so many cold cases, because they're in on it, okay, or they were in on it. And that's why there were so many women, Indigenous women, that were missing. There wasn't just 150, folks. Not just 150 in BC, for example, here in Vancouver or in the region of BC. Well over that, and especially with the Robert Picton Farm, the ranch they call the Piggy Ranch. There's over 15,000 that were found. 15,000. So this is a lot of these investigations will be solved. They will be solved, but it's going to take time, and I'll tell you why. Because the real, true people will come out and start giving us a hand, and they're probably doing it without us even knowing it. But there's right now, as we speak, in Ottawa, there is a very large, big hole being dug, and at the Ottawa parliamentary grounds. Big hole with a fence around it. I mean, deep. Why? Because there's underground tunnels under the Ottawa parliamentary building, and under there is sacrificial tables, cages, you name it, jails of sorts. It's been around for a long time. They found well over 300 children under that parliamentary building, and guess whose DNA is all over it? Not just one prime minister, more than one. Okay? Trudeau and Harper. And there's probably more. They're finding DNA of them, and these are where people still were there. They were rescued. Okay? And they were rescued during the lockdown a couple years back. They were there when Trudeau was actually in government. So they got rescued, whoever was left. But they found over 300 plus more kids. There were some that were not there, that didn't make it. There was, like, it's horrible. I mean, what I've been told, it's not pretty. But will we ever know anything about it in the future? Yes, it will be shared, but we have to go through first the arrests. And then yesterday, at the same time, there were sightings of the international marshals. Like, they came down. These marshals are actually special forces that came down from the States. And there were sightings of people being handcuffed, wearing special jewelry in their suits, walking out of the parliamentary building. Gee, I wonder who's in those suits. Think about it, folks. Who walked out in that really wonderful silvery jewelry? And how many were picked up? Okay. Now, there was one person who was a member of the Red Shoe Club, which basically they collected him. He was well known. He has an Irish name to him. Canadian politician. They picked him up because that Red Shoe Club is actually a pedo organization that you're a member of. Okay. And he was proud of that. There is a member of the Red Rose Club. They got him. That's very similar to the SNC Lavalin. And also the We organization. And that's another pedo organization. Is that the same as the SNC Lavalin? So they got collected. There, and also the Prime Minister of Quebec was collected. Got him. He went out with nice looking jewelry. There's quite a few. There are some that, I mean, and oh yes, Krista Freeland, she's bye too. Don't worry, folks. She was replaced. So why do you think she's doing stupid stuff? Like really funky, stupid stuff. Why is she responding in stupidly dumbass words? Because she's not the real Krista Freeland. She's an actress. The real Krista Freeland, who I already seen a photograph of, and this Krista Freeland are not the same. Not the same. And she also was known. I've got the copies of it. Copies of her file. She's also known as a double agent for the Ukraine. So she was passing secrets back and forth. Gee, I wonder why. Think about it. So there are true stories and people out there, and then the most fantastic thing happened above British Columbia. Oh, on the 24th and 25th, we had starships everywhere, all over the night skies. I'm telling you, lineups of them. They're all over the night sky. And then someone turned around and said, "Oh, those are satellites." No, satellites don't do that. "Oh, those are drones." No, they're not drones. They can't go that high. "Well, somebody's making some new kind of lights. They're just lighting the sky." No, they're UFOs, folks. They're put there for a reason, so then we can see the truth. They are acknowledging us. They're thanking us, and that's why they lined up, because they were saluting us for being strong, that we were fighting for our freedom, and they were behind us 1,000%. You guys don't realize that extraterrestrials, that they are on our side. They wouldn't be messing around for any dumbass reason. They wouldn't. They're there for a reason. They're there all to help us. I have folks calling me up, send me texts and emails asking why they're having these strange visitations. The last 2 3 nights, they're having strange visitations, and they actually were visitations of extraterrestrial beings. They said they look like white aliens, or white aliens, or look like insectoids. And I'm going, oh, well, I guess you guys are being scooped for a reason, because they're checking out to see if you're healthy. Why? Well, if you were jabbed, maybe they're going to try and remove that little tracker out of you, because they've been watching over you for a long time. Why would they waste their time by not having to help remove that tracker out of you? right? Now, Suzanne says in the chat room, yes, that's exactly how I felt, that these weren't satellites. They were spaceships and they were here to help us. Yes, they were. Joanne says, I saw them and they went off into separate directions. Yes, because they wanted to see how we were doing. They observe us and they have the ability to do it, folks. Let me tell you something. You guys think you see them, they see you. Even individually, they can see you. They can see you individually very easily because they have, it's like a tracking. How do you think the government knows how, the military know how to do infrared tracking? Who gave them that idea to learn how to use infrared tracking? And that you can, a heat sensor. Us, we're the heat. These guys were doing it a long time ago, but they can actually track it so easily because it's in the DNA or in that little jab that was placed into your arm, the nanobite. They know how to track it. I've never had so much fun watching people. When I start using this machine, my cell phone, I got two of them, and I take this one, I turn on the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth at the same time, and I'll say to the person, were you jabbed? Yeah. Want me to show you something, how there's a tracker in you? No, there's no tracker in me. I said, watch. So I turn it on, wait for a couple of minutes, and I put it next to their body. And you look down below, very bottom of the screen, next thing you know, there's a tracking number. It has a letter and numbers. That's your tracking number. That identifies you. That's what's on that little bottle that these guys do at the centers that do the jab centers. And they put on your screen, on your sheet that has your name next to it, the barcode. That means it tracks you. Now it's activated. It goes to the center, the health center, where the other organizations do, and they get to mess with your head. Because now they go like, well, what do you want to do today with Bob? Well, you know what? I think Bob's annoying today, so let's make him look like an idiot. So let's make him say, I don't know what to do. I'll just make the guy freeze and he'll just stump. It just feels like he can't even speak anymore. So the next thing you know, boom, they put the thing on there, and next Bob goes, Bob's not moving. Or they'll make you look as if you're going to go crazy. Like, oh, look at this up here. And you drop down, and next thing you know, you're dead. That's what it is. That's in those tracking devices, folks. Think about it. Thomas, nice to see you in the chat room. Okay, they're tracking devices. Now, how that works, why they are there, those are the QR codes. Because if you go to any restaurant, any store, and they put the QR code on, okay, I don't have to find out who you are. Your name comes up here, and you're and you live here. This is your address. Oh, I see you had a criminal record. Oh, okay, what'd you do? Oh, you hurt someone. I can't let you in the store. Or, oh, you had a divorce. I'm so sorry. They will know everything about you, including your medical records. That's what's in your arm. Now, the question is, how do you get rid of them? Right? People are asking, how do we get rid of those things? Well, there is a way of doing it. One, there's some people actually have tattoo shops that they will use a heavy-duty magnet, and they put it on the area where your insertion was, your jab, and it'll pull it to the surface, and then they take a little razor blade, cut it open, and it comes right out. Or there's cupping. They do the same way. Or whomever you want to see. Doctors won't even touch it because they're not supposed to. No, because if the doctors are seen or known that they're going to remove the nanobite out of your arm, they lose their job. They get fired. So now you know. You gave them permission. A piece of paper. You gave them permission. You signed it that you're allowing to be the experimental dog, experimental guinea pig. That's what it says on there. Everything on that questionnaire, read it. Experimental drug. You guys never read it. You're in such a hurry to line up to sign it, get it put in your arm. Oh, I'm doing it for everybody. We're doing it for together. We're doing this together. Who told you that you're doing this together? Your health authority came up with that idea, but who said that first? Who created that wording? Fauci. Who created the second wording? Bill Gates. We're doing this together so we can depopulate the world. You're helping other people to knock each other off because you just don't want to be the bad guy. You don't want to, because I want to travel. I'll take all 3 shots because I want to travel. Oh, I can't go shopping. I have to have all 3 shots because I gotta done. Can't have a job unless I get all 3 shots. Yes, you can. But everybody was in such a big hurry, and now, why I'm saying this now? Because now you're noticing there's more people dying. Suddenly, cancer. Oh, so many cases all at once. It's like a virus. It is. Because your cancer now is considered as a automatic thing. Or if it isn't cancer and it's real sudden, all of a sudden, I got cancer. Or all of a sudden you may, heart attack and gone. Then they do the examination. Oh my God. So many people have seen so many hardening of their arteries, and they're finding the intestines hard as rocks. 8, 9, 10 feet of that intestine, all clotted blood. It doesn't come from people that are not jabbed. It's coming from what you put into your arm. I'm not here to scare the crap out of you. I'm here to tell you that you can fix it. All of you can fix it. Why do you think what the TV media, mainstream media has done and the government has done, they try to get you so messed up to believe that you begin to lose so many family members and friends. I'm sure you guys have never had so many friends and of losses of friends and family now since this whole thing ever happened. And you don't know what to do. I've never seen so many stories, reading stories of children, hearing from families coming to me and other friends of mine that are other psychics too, and their families are coming to them saying that their sons and daughters committed suicide. The youngest is 10, the oldest is 16. Why? Because sometimes they refuse to be jabbed, and mom says, no, you got to get jabbed, or if you don't do it, then you're not in it, then you're not my daughter. Poof, out the door. The kids don't know what to do. Now they're confused. They're all messed up. You can't medicate the child, they medicate you another way where you don't live long enough. It's a sterilization program. That's why Bill Gates said on that one video, I watched him say this, I'm coming for the kids. Okay. Thomas says, how many individuals have a life preference that is anything but inclusive? You know, everyone has an opportunity to be here a long time when they want to be. If you really want to live a long time, I mean, you either walk in the chat room, come in the chat room, you watch. If you don't like to hear what you hear, you will end up leaving the chat room. You say, oh, Derek, getting boring. He's talking about this over and over again. No, I'm not talking over and over again. I'm giving you guys some reminders to help your family members, right? To let them know there are alternatives, that you can fix it. You can fix it. And one of them is called a niece. Not a nephew, called a 5-star anise. It's really good. You make 5 or 6 of them. Wonderful tea. Oh, absolutely great, wonderful tea. It will take care of what you're dealing with. Anise. It's really nice tea. Absolutely wonderful tea. All I can say. Because if I go any further with it, if I say why, then I will be striked again. That's why. So, no way. Mick says my boss at the company I used to work for, the same age as me, 67 years old, last year, very healthy, died shortly after getting it in the arm. Yeah, I know. And some people's metabolism can handle it. Um, it and then others, good. Yeah, there's 5 or 6 of them you do, and you make a wonderful tea out of it, and it does work. I mean, it helps other things besides that. I mean, but it's a wonderful tasting tea. You understand? A really good tea. Good for this. A really good tea. Okay? Stay on it. You'll enjoy it. Okay? If anybody has any indication of it, it's a really good tea. You keeps you nice and hot and warm. Oh yeah, it's good tea. Like I said before, it's Scott's in the room. Hey, Scott. Scott has a program on as well. No way. Been a bad week. Found my cousin died Monday. Oh man. See, it's everywhere. How did he pass away, Scott? Do you know anything about that? How'd your cousin and how old was your cousin? Let me know. Yeah. I've got Here's one thing I find interesting. We've got homeless, houseless people living in the streets here in Vancouver. And I would say about 5 years ago, we had about, yeah, that's exactly from, he must have got it in the arm. That's why blood clot. Yeah. Wow. That's too young. Way too young. Um, Anyways, we got homeless people living in the street. Yeah, it was a stick. I can tell you right now. And I'll be honest with you, she had problems with her heart long before this began to happen. She was feeling like lightheaded a lot. I would say the last 6 weeks before this incident happened. Short of breath, that whole thing. And so basically, it finally caught up to her. There's no way you could have stopped it. But again, she chose that. She made that decision. We don't, there are times, guys, we don't have awoken families. There's families that will not listen to you. I'm telling you, there are other, I mean, I've got cousins, um, uncles, aunties think I'm nuts. They have nothing to do with me right now. They're totally ignoring me. You're crazy. Meh, 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 meh. You're crazy. Sorry. Call me crazy all you want, but at the end of the year, you're going to find the truth, right? Yeah, but probably what it did is actually went further. She had blood clot issues 4 years ago, almost killed her. Yeah, it just probably increased. It went further than what it was. Now, mind you, there is actually, Scott, and even for yourself, Scott, there's actually a page on the internet called Strauss, Strauss, Heart, HEART, DROPS. Get on them, Scott. Get on it for yourself. Strauss. It's this stuff was made by ninth generation master herbalist, and he swore by it. I know the history because it's what saved me big time. When you start noticing you get a kind of a a khaki look around your eyes, not your eyes, but around your eyes are green, or your ears lobes start to look like kind of wrinkly, like they're like lines, that's the first indication. Let's see. My friend's husband say go smoke another one. Yeah, and I'm sure he loves to do that a lot too. Yeah, yeah, it's worth your while to get on it. And anybody you know that has any kind of issues regarding the BLODs, that will help to clear it up, so they won't cry anymore. The tears will go away. That's what I'll say. Stay on it for at least 3 months. The tears will go away. Yeah. Star anise. STARANISE. Yeah, you can make it. Get it directly from the star itself. Like you don't buy the tea. You make it yourself directly from that star. Make the tea from it directly. Don't go to the store to get it. You'd rather go to. There's actually people that have bulk. Buy it there with the bulk. Yeah, this will help a whole lot. You'll. Oh, it's really great for the keep you warm in the winter. Man, talk about if you're gonna get cold. If you feel cold chills, you make that up and you drink it. It really keeps you warm. Helps the insides, so no one can actually get sicker. Okay. Mick says I retired as a stagehand on Tuesday night, September 27, after 46 working of Billy Graham. At Billy Graham Presents Live Nation by working the Doobie Brothers show at the Shoreline Amphitheater in the Mountain View, California. I will no longer have to be tested ever again or ever have to get it rocked. You know why? I'll tell you this, my friend. No one's forced to do it anymore because they stopped it. And that sucks. You went and watched Doobie Brothers. They're my favorite. Jesus is all right by me. Jesus is all right. Yeah, Doobie Brothers. Listen to the music. Oh, 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 listen to the music. Na, na, na. Yeah, love the guys. I listened to the song, that album forever and ever. When I was 16, back in the 70s, that's the only album I loved listening to all the time. It was very soothing, enjoyable. Yeah, drove my mom nuts because I had the whole upstairs of my house, I had the window open, just cranked up as much as I can for a stereo record player. It didn't sound like the concert, but it was on the farm, so I can make as much noise as I wanted to, and nobody cared except the cows were going, "Ooh, what is that?" Coming from that thing over there. There's a hole in the wall, and there's a guy playing something there. It sounds kind of fun. Yeah, it was me. Ah, welcome, David from Texas. Okay. Yeah. So, like I said before, now Trump did say. Oh, I remember talking to talk about this too before I forget. I better write this down so I'll give myself a reminder. Okay, yeah, it was Telegram. Okay. Yes. Trump did say that like some of you guys just come into the chat room, he did say that this is going to be the hardest 2 weeks. And he mentioned that about just before the 24th. He says it's going to be the hardest 2 weeks ever for everyone. And this is where the awakened become so supportive of others to help. Basically, this is going to be more of a rescue rescue journey for everyone now. And we'll be out there helping to give people a helping hand. Um, we're we just there for everybody. That's why you start hearing about floods, tornadoes, not tornadoes, floods and hurricanes, not tsunamis, but hurricanes. And it's affected so many countries, areas from the U.S. all the way to Florida. And if anybody lives in Florida, which I already know who does, my friend who lives in Florida, she decided to take a trip here to Canada. So she said, I don't like it to be, I wanted to get back to Florida, but I somehow can't leave. I said, don't worry. At the end of the year, you can go back to Florida when you're ready, but I don't recommend to go to Florida yet. I don't know what it was about, but you need not to be in Florida for a little a tiny bit, but it will eventually go away. And then when they mentioned the hurricane, I went, wow. Then yesterday, someone shared this information and they actually video recorded it. And that is, let's see here. So many people send me information on our Telegram. Where is that video? It was so cool to watch the fellow who was, I think it was a TikTok. I'm not sure if you guys did see it, but he actually showed a video of the Florida. I, I'm not sure where it was, but it was in Florida and it was empty, but it was supposed to be like a lake. But when he was there, he looked at it and went, wait a minute here, this is actually empty. There's nothing there. Like the water is all gone. 'Cause I've never been to Florida in my life. I'm not sure. Fort Myers. Let's see. It says Fort Myers area was leveled 14 to 18 feet storm surge. Weather buoy recorded 190 to 210 miles per wind gust. Wow, you're kidding me. Whoa, Tampa Bay. Yeah, that's it. Is Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay was empty. Tampa Bay got emptied. Like, what the hell? What picked it up? Here it is right here. The guy says out loud, here it is. Here's how it begins.
That's what Tampa Bay looks like with all the water drain. Yes. I wanted to show you guys something absolutely biblical about this hurricane. Check it out. This is Tampa Bay right now. Currently in Tampa Bay, seating is completely been drained out of the bay. This is like 15 feet of water that's just evaporated from the bay. And the reason why this is happening is because the storm is so powerful that it's like pulling the water out to sea. So normally this would be a beautiful bay shore, and it's crazy. So anyway, I say biblical because it's like what happened when God parted the sea, the Red Sea, Moses, and it's crazy. So police are trying to move people out away from here, but there's a lot of people here taking selfies and photos. And say, yo, this is it is. There you go. It's nuts. Anyway, we're heading back home.
Now you know. Those of you who didn't see it in the YouTube chat room, you'll have to go back to the Facebook chat room and have a look at there, but you'll see. Yeah, the hurricane was so strong, the surface current literally pulled the water out of the bay and the canals. Yeah, that's why Trump said he wanted to clean up what, guys? The swamp. Because some of the bad stuff was in Florida as well. So whatever was in there, it got scooped out. Okay, the water will come back. They'll make sure it comes back and it'll be back to normal. So there's something probably was there. They didn't want anybody to be sick from it, and so they decided to clean it out. That's what they did. I just know it. You don't just see on logic thinking is how can a government apply drainage of the Tampa Bay? You know, for example, say what's wrong with Tampa Bay? Well, maybe the water may not have been that great. So is that well, okay, well, I guess somebody will turn on the switch and we'll make this wind gust a little stronger, and we'll create a hurricane and pick it all up and move it. Yes, I did see that. Should look for the bull shark swimming down the street in Fort Myers. I know. I actually talked about it on my radio show yesterday in Vancouver. There was, folks. There was actually more than one. There were a lot of sharks, and those aren't lawyers, by the way. Real sharks. Yeah, they're swimming down the street in Fort Myers. It's you guys have got things that are so unique there to be found that it was hilarious. I mean, just think about it. It was funny as heck. And when I shared that show on, like I said, I work at a radio station, and when I shared that story on the guys of the station, they thought I was nuts. I said, "Look, here's the video," and I showed them the video of the shark swimming down the street and with his fin sticking out like. And I said to the guys, how come there isn't that? You know, who's going to get chomped down this time? Jaws 14, you know? Oh my God. So now, some of you may believe, another story to share with you guys. Some of you may believe or disbelieve. We all know, supposedly Queen Elizabeth had passed away. Some of you may have liked her or disliked her. Um, the survivor of all of the royal family, because all the royals, I mean, I do know is all the royal family is gone. The real true royal family are gone. But King Chuck E. Cheese King, um, every medium had said many years ago, back in the 60s and 70s, he would never be king. And it's true. He never was going to be king. And he is not, still to this day, never was king. The real Chucky, he never became king, right? Um, but there was a page set up in Telegram. Some of you, I'm not sure if you guys know about this at all, but I will share this with you now. There was a page set up by Queen Diana, who is now the real true official queen. Diana is very much alive. When she went down that tunnel, it was John F. Kennedy Jr. that rescued her, and she faked her death. Now I've got family and friends now are gonna be watching it and saying, "Derek, you're crazy." Well, not right now, not anymore, because I just seen her live video. She had a page set up, Queen Diana, and she said that she was going to share it for whoever wants to be invited to come and see her in the room. It was called the Queen Diana link, and I clicked on it. And there'll be a day, she mentioned the day that she was going to go live on Telegram. And she did. Not a young Diana, not in Diana 20s and 30s. I'm talking about Diana now, who she is today. I got photographs of her now as who she is today. She's got her crown, her original Queen Diana crown on now as we speak. Okay, I've got a photograph of her with her crown on. The real crown, the real Queen Diana. So she talked about herself and how she was rescued, who rescued her, and then she fell in love and met a wonderful man who she fell in love with, fell in love with, that she wanted to be the mother and the wife of this man's child. She chose Donald John Trump. They had a baby together. In fact, they have two children together. They have a daughter, and a son. The one you have already seen, who you say is with Millennia. Diana is Millennia in a mask. The real Millennia is the Queen of Russia. She's in Russia. There's a switch back and forth because the real Millennia did not want to get any more involved in this. So she moved on, and Diana has been with Donald ever since. That's the real relationship. So she does have a daughter who looks just like her mom when she was in her 20s, spitting image of her mother. And she's also got her own channel too in Telegram. And you're going to see more of Diana coming out. This is her first time that she did reveal herself, who she was, where she was. And I was like, oh my God. And there's friends of mine that actually watched the video too. And yeah, it was very random. She was giving it a shot, see if anybody actually was following her at all. But she'll do it again. She'll be doing it again sometime this month. I believe someone mentioned about somewhere in October that she will announce herself to come back on again. But in November is going to be the biggest day ever. Okay? Because the trials will begin to happen too. So, if those of you are wanting the recipe for star anise, that wonderful tea, just ask and I'll send you the video of it. You can actually watch it and you can write down information what you need to know. You know, yeah. So I did think Joanne, I may have sent that to you, and I probably sent it to you on Telegram. So if you weren't on Telegram, to look probably why, because I wasn't giving any messages through to Facebook on regarding her coming out, because FB was trying to block anything to do with her. Yes, well, we already know. Why did Diana wait until now? Because Elizabeth wanted her dead. Elizabeth wanted her gone a long time ago because she exposed. See what Diana had done. Diana tried to expose them on TV back in the in around the 80s, and she got warned. And in fact, King Charles or King Chucky, put a hit on her, and she even put it on the tabloids saying that he sent her a letter and told her he was going to kill her, and it was real, and that's why she had to make a decision to let herself die and go through or she will go and hide. And so basically, she told John F. Kennedy Jr. about it, and that's why they made a big story about saying, "Oh, they're having an affair." No, she was making a reason why the tabloids made it look as if they're having an affair. They can't have an affair. You know why? Folks, they're brother and sister. There's a different kind of affair. They're brother and sister. They were seeing each other, yes, but he was protecting his sister. She's related to the Kennedys. She's a Kennedy. Do you get it now? Queen Diana is a Kennedy. And there's royalty in the Kennedy family. It goes way back to Jesus Christ. So, yeah, it makes sense, Scott. Yeah, I do know that Diana Memorial at the Athorpe is made of wood. Found that odd for a memorial to her. It is. And the thing is, here's how much I know of the family, because my relative, and Scott, you're going to love this one. Her name is Rebecca Rolfe, or Rebecca Mataqua Rolfe. Her given name in public is Pocahontas. That's my late relative on my grandfather's mom, my mom's side of the family. Robert Henry Rolfe is related to John Rolfe, who married her. That's my real relative. And when my grandfather gave me the documents to prove it, I have the documents. My grandfather wasn't looking for her. My grandfather was trying to get his pension. I was only how old was I then? 8, 9 years old when I never got got hold of the documents until I was turned 14, 13, 14. And they were given to me. So I have proof and documents of my grandfather's ancestry of really being related to Pocahontas. Now, why I'm saying this? Because she herself is supposed to be buried next to Princess Diana, Queen Diana. Her and the Queen back then, the other Queen, refused to allow her to leave the country to go back to her family. They kept her there because, according to them, they owned her. She was their slave, but even though she was considered as a princess, all of the royal family refused to let her go, so they kept her body there. Yeah. Oh, you'll find it. You'll find it, Scott. You'll find that link soon, and when you do, man, you're gonna be like, "What the? I can't believe." Yeah, you will. You'll find it. So most likely, if you do have knowingly, if you do have a connection to JFK, maybe because you probably one day interview him, Junior, right? Father, yeah, father side, Scott, Scott here, yeah, on the father side. So I would check it out. Um, People were actually talking about gateways recently. You've seen that TV series where the guys are walking through that looks like that giant hoop. Remember that big, huge thing, and you're going to another dimension? Well, they've been finding those all over the world. Now they're beginning. Smithsonian decided to release the photographs, and they have these portals. They've been around for a long time, and they decided to release the photographs of these portals. Now these portals now are available to see. Now, are they active right now? I do not know, but I do see people are thinking that they're just statues or just monuments. They're not. They are for real. They're actually used as portals. They've been around for a long, long time. That's how I'm sure that many of us now even realize that we can go through a portal quite easy, whether you go through a portal in the sky or go through a portal in the park. Because some of the parks actually do have portals, and especially in the States. That's why there's stories about children going missing. And other locations, guys are going to run in a park somewhere. Next thing you know, I think it's Yellowstone. I think one is called Yellowstone National Park. Um, and they're running, and next thing you know, the guy disappeared. So let's see. Now Scott's asking Wakefield or Hank's side. Give me a second. I'll find out, sir. Wakefield or Hanks? Okay. Is he related to JFK on the Wakefield side? On the Hanks side? Go Hanks. Hanks. No, that'd be too hard to figure out. Um, do you know? I don't know how you say your last name, but it sounds like it's royalty, like heir. You know, he's got an air about him. Yeah, I know you're not related to Tom Hanks. So sorry, wrong Hank. Because Tom Hanks is not that's not his real name, by the way. His real name is Rothschild. Or was it Rockefeller? No, it's Rockefeller. His real last name is Rockefeller. Tom Hanks is his real last name. Yeah, just like the hair in your head. Oh, it is hair in your head. Okay. Well, some of the British will say some of the air on your head. So, same way. It's how you say my last name, Scott Hair. Yeah. But there is a H-E-I-R. You can actually spell your name with H-E-I-R, hair. Like it's mine hair. Yeah. It's kind of cool. Cool name, cool way to spell too, with an E on the end. I like that. Yeah. So we do have, the 16 Irish clans. Yeah. Uh, I wonder how many Scots did you have to go into to hang out with, and you know what, 16 Irish clans. That may make one heck of a football field. Uh, or you're squeezing all those bags to blow your horn. Yeah, and they're a lot higher pitched. The Irish musicians or musical instruments are much higher pitched than the Scottish one. Okay, like I said before, talking about the portals, those round portals are coming out and they're being revealed soon. So I got a feeling they're going to be end up bringing those. What I find funny or interesting about it is that you'll start seeing a lot of these TV shows and movies. A lot of these TV shows and movies are based on facts. They're based on true stories. Even like Gene Roddenberry when he did Star Wars. You guys may not know this, or not Star Wars, but Star Trek. When he did Star Trek, he learned that from how to use certain instruments or create instruments because he was visited by extraterrestrial beings. They showed him what to do because he wanted to do the show, and they got him to do the show. One of the people that helped him financially back it for having Star Trek to be made is Lucille Ball, Desilu Productions. They're the ones that actually helped create Star Trek itself, because if it wasn't for Lucille Ball, you would not have no Star Trek. Okay, and you'll see a photograph of Lucille Ball. It's flying around now all over Facebook. I'm thinking, but there's photographs of Lucille Ball dressed up, looking like Uhura um, on the spaceship. So she did that as an idea what a person could look like being on this, like part of the space shows. And the one TV series I used to watch was Lost in Space, but I didn't really find Lost in Space. I mean, I was a kid watching it, and I remember growing up. I remember Lost in Space was kind of cool in one way, but when I started seeing these stupid creatures come out after, like they look like they're getting dumber and dumber and dumber. It was there was no more fear. It didn't even have any fun anymore in it. It was more like these giant vegetables are attacking Dr. Smith. Giant vegetables. I mean, you kidding me? I was like, okay, that's it. We're done. I didn't want to bother watching it anymore. And then one of the main actors, the father who played the father of the whole ship, and he quit because he got tired of seeing the way it turned out. He was getting tired of there's nothing to talk about. They just had nothing there left in the show. But Star Trek, even though it had a shorter season or seasons, they still kept repeating it to the point now it became so. Yeah. Oh yeah, he turned into a broccoli. Yeah, you're right. See, Scott, he turned into broccoli. Yeah. When that went too far. That's probably why kids don't like eating broccoli. They watch Dr. Smith turn to a broccoli. Oh, Dr. Smith. In my fingers. I'm eating Dr. Smith. Yeah. Anyways, that one too. Now, if you guys also want to learn more about our government, like I said before, there's many things to see here in Canada. For example, let's bring up my book. Grab my book. and that is, okay. Some of you do or may know or not know, but if you're not too sure about your rights, I do recommend, still need to know your rights, folks. You always learn to be up to date with it. It's called Action for Canada. Action, ACATION, number 4, Canada.com. And always, please understand, folks, being a Canadian citizen, always learn the three laws that protect you, international laws that protect you. One is the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. 2, Nuremberg Code 2.0. 3, your Geneva Convention. They are legally legitimate, real laws. They protect you, that you don't become abused by illegitimate organizations or corporations. That they will protect you, but if you allow this for them to tell you what to do and how to control you, then it's your problem. Something I've been watching lately, there are more people now acting weirder and weirder as far as in the Hollywood region. Notice there's a lot more freeze ups. Like there's actually some of the actors and singers. I've been getting some videos sent to me from people that are up in Vegas, because I was up in Vegas about 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago. And friends of mine are sent me information. They're saying that a lot of the actors are glitching. Like, what do you mean glitching? Really, they're like they would talk, and all of a sudden they go, like, they freeze, nothing moving, and then their eyes are going wrong, spinning their eyes, and then their tongue comes out like this, like it's going crazy, and then they just suddenly stop. They just wind up like this, and they're back in order again. That's glitching. Those are clones. Your actors, a lot of your actors now are clones. They're just placed there for a reason, folks, to get you to see the truth that Hollywood isn't what it is. So please be understanding and be aware of that, because what you see now is not everybody is for real. Unless anybody's capitulated and decided not to get cloned, but most of the actors and entertainers are cloned now. In fact, there's a couple of actors that said, I got 3 clones, and they're all playing him. They can't play catch up to everybody else, but do all these locations, so he sends those clones out to play his role. That makes sense, right? There's also, let's see here. Yeah, here's one right here. I'm not sure if you've actually seen this one, but I'll play it.
How do you do it? I look on Twitter, there you are. Facebook, there you
Kevin
are.
Hart.
Television, there you are. How do you do it?
I have a clone.
I was gonna say that. There's 2 of you.
Cat's out the bag. Okay? It's about a good 3 of me. We broke it. They didn't want to release it yet. This is major news that I'm giving you.
All right.
I'm the first person to ever use it. I'm cloned. I'm cloned. I'm cloned.
Got it. He's real. And it says at Kevin Hart for real. That means he's the real Kevin Hart. I've been getting some really cool stuff sent to me now lately, and a lot of them are extraterrestrial aliens that are video recorded, and especially even some grays. If you want to see some real grays, folks, I've got some cool ones here sent to me. If you want to find me on Telegram, I'm actually on Telegram, and I have a page called True North Strong and Free. If you want to find me personally myself, I'm at White Sky Cloud. Easy to find. Find me on, and if you still say I can't find you, let me just you can always text me on Facebook or wherever else you can do, and I can just send you the page, and you can say download the app. If you haven't done Telegram before, it's worth your while. You have more freedoms. Okay, I'm sure Scott would know this too. You have more freedoms to talk about wherever you want to talk about in Telegram. Okay, sure, you have your radio shows, TV shows on, say, Rumble or a few other pages, but I find what's going to happen, and Telegram's doing this now too, they're going to start their own video programs, and where basically you can go live on location, and you can go live now on Telegram, but they want to make it where they're going to help set it up where we can actually do the same thing like Rumble, but even better. So they're working on it now. They're doing major improvements. So I'm so looking forward to walking away from the FB, going, or even just include it. You know, like you start using your OBS, go in there and drop in there, and you get another one to drop in the studio, and you get people that are in all your new friends that you have on Telegram, new friends you have on Facebook, new friends on Rumble, because some of your chat rooms, not everybody's able to see everybody talking and chatting in the room. So, and if Scott Hare is in there on the Telegram, if I don't have Scott, Scott will probably ask to be a friend on Telegram to me, and then I can learn what's going on in his programs that he does, and then I share that in my page on True North. And I'm always dropping, drag and drop. I like to drag and drop people, not in a bad way, in a good way. Making sure their stuff is inside to get, because we need all of us need to work together and bring awareness to the programs. And I enjoy whenever I get time. I do enjoy watching Scott and the guys doing their little spiel and talking and interviewing, if not just talking basic stuff. And then you get your angry callers, and sometimes they phone in angry, like, and they're just ready to attack, and they're angry, and then you're going like, oh well, shit happens, right? So you can't please everybody. And when you got still more people that need to be waking up every day. But I will say this: we don't have 85%, jabbed in the world. We only got lucky. You got 8%, 8%, not 85%. But they're going to try and get you believing that there's 85% because they're going to lie through their teeth, and then they're going to say, "Well, if you don't get jabbed now, too late." Yeah, I know, Scott. I get callers in on my other show, and I got them to call in yesterday on my other program that I do at a radio station. And I got one guy called in. It just matter in a hat because I knew some stuff that they didn't like to hear. And then the next caller called in, and she just loved the program, what I shared. So, you can't please everybody. Whatever happens, happens. Um, yeah, but I will say, like I said before, folks, at the very beginning of the show, let you all know, Ottawa, Parliamentary Grounds, okay? There were some people had some the wonderful looking jewelry given to them and they were wearing them beautifully on their wrist, and they had bodyguards, federal marshals walk them out just for their own protection. And these are politicians, from Parliament. There's a few of them actually were guided and shown where to go. It was a wonderful scene to see them actually walking away. Okay. This is We have a caller named Gary, and we have her plan skits ready for when he calls. Okay, cool. So it's pre-called. Oh, I guess cool. And let's see what else we got here. Yeah, on that I'm going on my mom. I'm not doing Crystal Freeland. Crystal Freeland, this lady who actually works as assistant prime minister or whatever. She's no assistant prime minister. She's just she is like I told people, she's a double agent for the Ukraine. We all know that. It's been proven that she is. I got friends send me, they have documents to show that she is. But again, the real Crystal Freeland was taken away. She had an emergency to go to, where the White Hats had to have a chat with her, and so she was replaced, and for another lookalike. Yeah, that was what happened here. We've got about, say, maybe 10 replacements in our parliamentary building. And yeah, let's see here. Oh, yeah. So I'm just looking at here. I was going to share something with you guys. Let's see. Governor General Mary Simon tests positive for C-19. Really? She capitulated. Anytime, folks. Governor General Mary Simon tests positive. Okay, we already know. Bye. Okay, she's done. Yeah. So she got herself in trouble. Naughty lady. Yeah, Joanne knows that because Joanne was in the chat room. Joanne's the one that sent it to me. February the 9th. She was taken away. Poor thing. Okay. What else we got here? Okay. Albert. Can't say that, Albert. I wish I could. Anything to do with the sea, folks, we have to be very, very, very careful. Talk about it here on this station, or both, because they are on their last. The companies themselves are on their last step. I'll call it goose step, and they can't. They're trying their darndest to make sure that we don't share anymore. So if they can try to eliminate one of us or all of us out, they've already tried to do that already, and not going to happen. There was a let's see, a photograph of two officers in England that one of the people came into the courthouse, and guess what found on the wall behind the courts? No one really paid attention until this recent time. They had to go to court on charges of not wearing a mask. The judge was in front of him, or I guess sitting in front of the symbol that was behind the judge. When the judge walked away, it was a symbol of the Freemasons. Do you guys get it? Okay. Symbol of the Freemasons behind the judge in his chambers, right? And not just in chambers, but behind the court door, right behind him. It wasn't just the Queen's, or it wasn't just the coat of arms, but where the coat of arms was supposed to be, they put the Freemason symbol on the wall instead. They must have been replaced. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting how all that turns out. I just got photographs of it here. It's crazy. Okay, and we are getting more visitations from extraterrestrials. People notice that they're coming through the dream time, and sometimes some people get really scared. They don't know what to do with it. It bothers them. I know one lady she did her story about saying to herself that she was very upset the fact that they even come and get her or come talk to her. I tell people this, that they're there for a reason, to make sure that you're okay. And if you've already been jabbed, and if they did scoop you up, they're scooping up to take that what's inside of you, to take it out, to making sure that, and when you come back, you don't have it in you anymore. That's why they're there. They're not there to abduct you. They're there to fix you. Okay, not everybody is going to get fixed, but certain people, because she's a messenger herself for them, but she didn't realize, I don't think she realized that she is important to them, because she's been a good messenger helping people out. And that's what makes this absolutely important for people to share this information. Okay, I'm going to do, folks, is I'm going to do it open lines. And if you guys have any questions you want to ask, you're more welcome to. Open this up. And if you got any questions you want to ask about, feel free to ask. 360-566-2875. That's 360-566-2875. And let's see here. What I will do is drop that here and put this here. Let's see here. Well, I was reading the word hologram on a coffee bag as you said hologram. True. Area code 408. Who am I speaking to?
Hey there, Derek. It's Mick Flair calling from Sacramento, California, USA.
Hey, Mick, how's it going, my friend? Yeah, and you retired.
Oh, it's going quite great, thank you. It feels good to be retired. although I know I'm going to miss working the rock and roll shows.
Well, you know, when a person retires, you don't know what kind of rubber you want to use, either Firestone or Michelin.
Well, since I don't have a car anymore, I have 2 tires on a bicycle, and I just finished getting a new inner tube yesterday, so I'm back on the road again, at least as far as bicycling goes.
Oh, that's good. Well, I'm glad I mean, well, at least you get to enjoy your looking forward to your future. You got things to do anyways, but I'm sure you still like to go down to the nightclub and karaoke yourself.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And now I don't have to worry about staying out too late. I no longer have to get up at 3:30 in the morning and drive 132 miles each way. And those 2 things I won't miss. I will miss the camaraderie of, loading trucks with my crew and, hearing the show go down a half an hour before we have to load out, and the interaction with, all the music and stuff. Yeah. That I will miss.
Yeah.
But you're right, I do have things to do. I'll continue to be making my magic wands and my wizard staffs. And that's going to be, fun. Mm-hmm. And and just enjoying my time, and trying to remain healthy. And because, you know what, I started to feel, Spirit was saying, dude, it's time to hang up the loader gloves. And when I started feeling the twinges in my left shoulder and the twinges in my right hip, things that come with age,
Yeah.
I'm 68 now. And so I took those as signs that I just didn't need to push that anymore. And so I happily walked away while I was still on top.
Yeah, well, it's better to be on top one way and instead of being on top the other way.
Isn't that the truth? Oh, man. So with this stuff going down in Florida, I mean, this particular Hurricane Ian is stronger, more intense. If they didn't have any doubts about global warming and climate change, this should definitely be an eye-opener for them. I mean, this is quite abnormal.
Well, it is, because this one here was planned by a special organization that said, and Trump even warned everyone ahead of time. He said, I'm so sorry, but I have to inform you, be ready for the biggest ever for the next 2 weeks. And it may hurt you, it may bother you, it may affect you, your family. You may not like this, but you need to go through it for a reason. Then if he's telling you to go through it because they have a reason to clean it up. Remember, he said we're going to clean up the swamp, and that's what he's talking about. There's different areas. Thank you, Scott. That's exactly what you're talking about. HAARP. They are there for one reason, and that is to clean up what's left and to flood out what's left that's not necessarily needed, because these are what's destructive. This is basically getting rid of what's left of the corporate controls. Okay, and all the corporations, as well as the so-called wannabe military invasion, that got flooded. That's why HAARP decided to say, no, we're going to shut her down. So they had to do this to basically destroy time. And I really strongly feel that the United States was going to be attacked, and that got stopped.
Wow. Yeah. Don't you just get that feeling of something large just looming? This is just the first shoe to drop. When Europe went through that huge heat wave just, like less than a month ago, that was a precursor to some things on the other side of the pond.
Yeah.
And so, that was a wake-up call for them too. And so, people need to start taking notice. And like you said before, start stocking up on the materials that you need to make your way through these things, because they're only going to become more frequent and more intense. And so, people need to be ready for that.
Yeah. According to my sources, what I was sent was that we have to be ready for November the 2nd to the 10th. Those are going to be the most prevalent important days, that's going to show you what's going to happen next. And most likely, it will either become the martial law before that, or there's going to be the court, the military court tribunals. And so and Gitmo. So it's one of the two. Not too sure. They haven't said, because they're just right now. This is called a feed. They're feeding the deep state. Okay, they're feeding out the deep state. See if the deep state's going to make the jump. And whatever happens, happens. And like, they can't tell us everything, but they're going to give us a bit of a heads up to say, okay, be ready for this. So I tell people, and like Scott says, it's called the High Frequency Active Aerial Research Program. It was established in 1993, but there have been many projects before that dealt with weather manipulation. Weather manipulation has been around since, I would say, the mid 70s. So that's what I would say. It's been around since the mid 70s.
Right. And I try to tell people about the ability for the government and for the cabal to be able to manipulate the weather, and everyone would just kind of roll their eyes. And this was like 40 years ago. We're talking 1980, and now you look at it now, not only is it in the realm of possibility, it's just like right in your face. They're daring us, they're challenging us to dispute that. And so it's just so obvious now that people are really taking notice. And it's not only going to be here in the United States, it's just going to be worldwide. So, people need to be prepared.
Well, I'll give you an idea why I know how the weather got changed so much since the 1970s or late 1970s. Because when we had our first snow storm in July of 1975, 76, we had our first snowstorm in Alberta, in Canada, in 1975, in July, in the month of July. Okay, why all of a sudden there's snow? Boom, that was the first test. And I didn't understand why we had snow. All I know is we had snow for 2 days, and next thing you know, it was hot again, the snow was gone. But everybody freaked out, like, how come we got snow in July? And they're saying, oh, well, God's changing the weather. No, something happened. But when you're a kid, you're 16, 17, 18 years old, and you're going like, okay, what the hell is going on here? Something doesn't make any sense. Why we have snow in July? You're never expected to be that way. And yet the snow was gone after the 2 days after in July, and then they have the most strange. I mean, you look at different parts of the world, they always have the most strangest weathering issues or programs in different parts of the countries. And then some person from meteorologists going, oh, well, we'll just make up the name. Let's see, it's snowing in the Arizona, and let's see here. Well, let's call it snowlicious. There's something to do with the cumulus clouds. They're trying to explain this, and they get people to be believing that it's the cloud's fault that's doing all this. No, it's manipulated. We already know that, because I remember told when I was a kid that the government was cloud seeding.
Yes.
Well, when you hear the word cloud seeding, that tells you, they're putting seeds in the cloud and they're making clouds act weird. That makes sense. So whatever they're doing, they're manipulating things. And like Scott's saying here in the chat room, 1950s, sure, they were practicing it. But I would say that prevalently, I think, because I remember when I was a kid, like I said before, as being a kid in the 1970s, we had nothing but blue skies, and the clouds are absolutely perfect. They're bubble, puffy, the whole 9 yards. I never seen cumulus clouds. We never did see chemtrails ever. Chemtrails never really started. Sure, we had our jet engines, but very few. But we had, next thing you know, we have these things cross over in the sky for the last 20 years. Why? Last 20 years. Because they were preparing us to get sick. They want us to begin the program.
Yeah. Not only are they seeding the clouds, but seeding the population.
Yep.
With that metallic stuff that we're inhaling, and it's just like a slow morphing into our systems. And now we're starting to see the generations that are being affected by it.
Well,
You
you think
know,
about it,
and
think about it this
so
way. Yeah, think about this, my friend. They were manipulating our food. Okay, first of all, they manipulate the milk. Now, myself being an ex-dairy farm kid when I was growing up, I know what milk can do, and I know very well true cow's milk is healthy. When you have a cow's milk, it's right from the cow. You cool it up and you drink it. It's absolutely really healthy for you. Now, today, when you drink cow's milk, it doesn't taste the same. Why? And here's what they do. Some person says, "Oh, well, if you don't drink the cow, if you drink the cow milk from directly from the cow, you're going to get Bang's disease." What the hell is Bang's disease? Well, Bang's disease actually is it's like having mastitis, but you're swallowing infected mastitis in your gullet. Well, mastitis is actually when the cow's belly gets horned or kicked by another cow and it clots up. Like anybody gets, say, a mother herself who has a baby and she gets hit in the breast and she comes out with clots, milk clots. That's called mastitis. Well, number one, um, Gates, those particular Bangs disease had nothing to do with that. But someone had to come up with a name, Bangs. Well, because some guy by the name of William Bangs. Oh, well, this is what I said. When you drink your milk, when you drink cow's milk, it always was good for you. Okay. And cow's milk was good for the kids because when the mother has her first newborn from a cow, the colostrum is very, very important, where that's where the nutrition and the vitamins and proteins and all the enzymes are building up to build better for you, for the child, and the child's immune system gets stronger. Now, once the government decides to separate the milk, they say, well, we're going to separate the milk. Why separate the milk? Well, we need to change it up a little bit so it'll last longer. So basically, what they're trying to do is create a preservative. So they put preservatives and they took out all of the proteins and the vitamins out of the milk and they just give it a spin called pasteurization. That's where you build up all those air bubbles in it. That's why when you drink milk, you get the burps. Okay, you don't get burps when a regular milk and drink from cow. You get the burps from the pasteurization because there's all air bubbles in there. So they're adding in supposed to be all the vitamins C's and vitamins whatever into that milk. Meantime, now the time goes by, these kids that are drinking bottled milk are going like, I don't know why I'm actually allergic to milk. But because whatever they put in, you're creating an allergy to the product that is what they put in that milk. That milk is not perfect. Okay, it was actually manipulated. Same with your other foods that they make when they make cereals, even some of your foods you buy in fast food businesses. Where is that food coming from? You remember for the last couple of years, 4, 5, 10 years, folks, they show videos and pictures of this big pink foam stuff that looks like reels and reels of foam and coming from McDonald's example. And they'll say, oh, there's no big deal. We're just mashing up the meat and look like this. No, I know what meat looks like when you mash it up. And it doesn't look like that pink. Okay? They put shit inside of it. And gee, I wonder what the pink looks like. Maybe it could be human in there. We don't know. So I will say that. But in the meantime, they mix it all up and they're adding things in there to make you want to eat more. So there's always something in the drink for Coca-Cola, Pepsi, you name those name brands. There always will put something in there to want you to drink more because that's what they're trying to create was an addiction to the food. Why do you think there's so many obese people all over the world? Because there's what they make. They want you to be obese. And the reason why they call you obese, because it gets where doctors come in and say, oh, hey, he has a problem with obesity. Okay, well, this is going to cost this much money. You got to see the doctor here, take this prescription. And this is another manufactured business. Here, well, we'll give you um, we'll say, buy this pill here because of what pharmaceutical will give you, and you take this pill. Meantime, you're taking this pill to balance your sugar that you've already consumed from your Pepsi. And you want, oh, I got diabetes. So they said if I can, I'm only allowed to have Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi because I have diabetes. Well, then why are you drinking Pepsi or Coke? Why are you still messing with lots of sugar? Because those aren't real natural sugars anymore. They're all aspartames or something else. Meantime, people are starting to get so caught up with all these chemicals, and sure, our body can begin to get used to the change, but only temporary. Never forever. It's only temporary. Our body can only handle so much because as you get older, your immune system is not the same. It cannot handle it. So in the meantime, now you're saying, oh, I don't know why I have these joint pains. I don't know why I'm hurting my leg. Why I can't figure how come my hips aren't working. I can't figure why I'm feeling kind of dizzy. Because what have you been consuming all your life? You've been consuming sugars and fast food products. We need to get back to the earth again. And this
Yes,
is where
yes,
we need to
indeed.
stop the joint pains. If you're getting arthritis is not natural. Arthritis is made from designed foods and designed drinks because it goes into the immune system and messes with your bodies and breaks it down. I learned that from a lot of friends of mine and myself, and a lot of friends of mine that are in the alternative. They said anything you drink that is surely consumed with sugar in it, that's not real sugar, you're going to have aches and pains. If you're eating fast foods that has way too much oils that are not natural oils, aches and pains. So it's something we all have to look at. We need to look at it a little bit better. Let's see. Scott says, I just call it all methyl ethyl. Bad crap makes it easier to remember and say at the same time. Methyl ethyl. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
milk is separate milk.
my message for all the listeners and viewers is to be very discerning about what you put in your individual body. And I think once people have that mindset,
Yeah,
they will definitely be able to take more control over what life they have left.
yeah.
And so, with that, my friend, I'm going to take my leave. And thank you so much once again for all that you do, Derek, for helping to educate us on what's going around us that we're not aware of, helping to make us aware, and send you much love and happiness, my friend.
Okay, you take care of yourself.
You know I will. All right. I'll see you, Derek.
Okay, take
Bye
care.
now.
I gotta go in. Keith says the milk separator. Yeah, milk separator was used for. We have I used to use milk separators myself. It's actually different kinds of cones. Varieties of cones are put together. Goes into a large steel bowl, and you put your milk in there, and you separate your milk from to create your cream. You separate milk from the cream. So I always tell people the best way to create a milk separator is don't drink it. Area code 306.
Hello?
Hello.
Who's this?
Who am I speaking to?
Oh, Derek, how you doing? Keith. I got a question for you. Can I get a small reading?
Well, how small do you want it?
Oh, it's just for my son. He's driving to Ottawa. He's promoting oil and gas. He's in his big bus.
Yeah.
So I just want to know if he will be okay on his trip, if he's going to have any type of trouble. I would like to have an idea.
No, don't see no trouble with him. No, he's fine.
Okay, because he had a rear seal leak, eh?
Yeah. Well, as far as mechanical things, that's something that he'll have to figure out himself. But as far as anybody else in the surroundings or in his travels, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like he's interviewing people.
Yeah.
And for oil and gas, for instance, he interviewed the restaurant here in Dalmany. They serve Cajun food, Southern Roots, and the two owners he interviewed, and the lady said that with the price of fuel, it's difficult to have people from the city come out to the small towns,
Yeah.
like they used to.
Yeah.
They enjoy meals and stuff like that. So that's the type of thing. He's putting that in his magazine. He has his own magazine now. So
well, we already know that the oil and gas. I mean, number one, I tell people this: the oil and gas actually is not a fossil fuel; it's natural. It actually is part of Mother Earth's blood, and it's been there since the beginning before we even pulled it out of the ground. Number two, the the government wants to control the industry of even oxygen, and so they want to blame us. Say, for example, we're going to buy a car from the government or buy a car from a company. Number one, the government actually controls the purchase, the selling of the property or development of the cars or vehicles. So they themselves have already start charging a tax on manufacturing them. Then they started charging a tax when you start to buy them. And then they charge a tax again when you put the gas inside of them. And they charge a gas tax again when you get the oil. You charge a gas again for residual carbon tax.
Oh, yeah.
Why do you want to be allowing yourself to be taxed all the time? Why are they taxing us? Because they want to tax you to the point, not because they don't want you to drive the car. They want to tax you so you can't afford to survive, so you can hand over your life savings to them, and they are supposed to babysit you. Their purpose is to basically is to depopulate your survival skills, basically to make you walk away, and that's not what anybody can. I will not walk away. I have different ways of knowing what's going to happen. I already know the future. I already seen our gas going down to almost what you call 55 cents a gallon.
Well,
So
good.
it's going to happen, and it will begin to happen next year. So if I were you guys, not to worry. What happens now, let them do their bull crap. They can play the games all they want, because that's why I said this, as I said earlier this evening. There are people already now, what I remote viewed, and other people telling me or sending me videos of certain politicians have actually already been walked out in fancy jewelry, and they're making that walk with the marshals. Okay. Now, why these marshals coming to get them? Gee, maybe because they need an escort somewhere, and it's not from the public. They're escorted somewhere because why are they wearing that special jewelry? Because they need to be told what, basically saying, hey, you made a boo-boo, we're coming to get you.
You know, what gets me is they call people like me white supremacists. I don't hate nobody.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't care what so and so is doing. And politicians, when I hear them say, "Oh, they're after me," you know what I think? I don't even think of doing anything to them. I just, if I ever saw Trudeau, I'd call him a name. That's it.
Yeah.
You know. But these people are going nuts.
I know, but again, you need to understand too, my friend, is that the mainstream media have the public believing it. So, that's what they're telling them to believe. So it's not, you're not at fault at this. Here's the thing. Justin Trudeau is quoting from Hitler's document.
Yes.
Okay. And his document, and from Hitler's document back in 1943 said, racist and misogynist. I've got a copy of it to show that he actually repeated the same thing. And why did he say those words? Because his wife is the granddaughter of Adolf H. Okay, and that was proven.
Okay, I know that I watched him interview the folks, and it was quite a good interview. I mean, he's professional about how he conducts interviews. He promotes all sorts of things. He got a Métis guy elected in in city council in Fort Mac. He ran his campaign for him. So he's into all kinds of stuff that I have no clue how to do. So I'm quite proud of that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I was sort of worried about that little bit of a leak mechanic, because I wouldn't want him to be stuck someplace out in the middle of nowhere. But he is going to see my brother, and my brother can fix it. He knows how, and he's done it before.
Those are mechanical things that anybody that drives a bus or an RV van, or those, if you're doing long distance travels, that is normal. Okay, somebody's always going to have some sort of a breakdown. That's expected. But you always tell people, make sure you're well financially ahead, that you can actually repair it. And if you can repair it, you're still on the road. You haven't lost your intention of travel. It may have slowed you down, but if it's slowing you down, it must be a reason why it's slowing you down. Maybe it's something you have to see that's in that journey at the time. If you're forced to stop to see your brother, then fine. That means you got to stop and spend some time with your brother. right? There's always
Yeah.
reasons.
Well, you know me, I like to travel in the middle of nowhere alone, and I do that every winter on the ice roads. You know, and I'm always filming, so I'm having a good time, you know, doing stuff.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Anyway, Derek, I'm going to be filming the ice road across Lake Athabasca, and I'm going to be going to Uranium City. So, and that's one of the longest ice roads, and it's a deep lake. So I think I'll be okay in my bus.
Well,
anyway, bye for now, and thank you.
make sure you bring a canoe with you and put it in your bus.
On the roof. Okay, bye-bye.
Take care. Oh my God, it's funny. There are a lot of good people out there that are wanting to see things going on. Oh, by the way, let's see if Scott, if you're around, Scott here, if you're around, you can always call in 360-566-2875. That's 360-566-2875. If you want to give me a bit of an update, what's going on in the U.S. on your side besides just the hurricane, if you know anything else that I don't know, we can update some of our viewers here as well. I know a little bit about things that are going on in the States, but not heavily because I'm a typical Canadian. Us Canadians, we only know so much. But as far as what's going on, we already know Biden's in big trouble. He comes in trouble. Oh man, that guy's drowning in the waters. I'm surprised he didn't bring his own canoe out. Yeah, it's getting to be crazy and crazier all the time, folks. I mean, it's nuttier and nuttier and cakes. But like I said before, anybody's watching this program right now as we speak, if you guys are actually out, anybody that's watching this program who is affected by the Hurricane Fiona, would love to hear from you. And because if you know, to see what this, like, I've got cousins out there in Nova Scotia region. I got cousins out in our friends out in Florida. They're everywhere. Cousins in Australia. You know, like I got cousins everywhere. As typical Indigenous people, we got cousins everywhere. They're all over the world. To see what's going on, you guys give a bit of an update. What's happening in those areas? I mean, I do see in the news, and I'm not always believing everything they say. Like you got your TV shows. I remember watching the one video where this guy gave Trudeau absolute shit. He went on him like, and we use the word white on rice. You know why? Because Trudeau came there specifically to Nova Scotia for 15 minutes, pick up a couple of sandbags and get a photo op. He was there for 15 minutes to get a photo op, and the old guy saw him doing that, and he came up to him, said to him, if you're not going to do the work and be with us the rest of the day, he said, then get the hell out of here, because you're not who you think you are. He says, get the hell out of here, out of our province, because you don't belong here. That's the old man did, and he went on, and Trudeau says, sir, you need to be more respectful. I come down here to help support the people. Support what? What do you pick? What kind of support are you doing, folks? Pick up 2 sandbags? That's all he did. 2 sandbags. He didn't like, here. He went, that was it. 2 sandbags and the photo op. Goes, yeah, Prime Minister Trudeau was down there helping out. 2 sandbags. And all this. Re-elect me. If you call, I'll stay. I'll help you. Nothing happened. That's all it was, a photo op. That's what they do. That politicians, all they do. They just do nothing but a photo op. I'm surprised they didn't have a photographer walking, hey, baby. You know, like, you know, one of those, what do you call those, GQ, show up with a GQ company, and, you know, Trudeau's like, look as if he's really working hard. Trudeau's never worked hard in his life. The only thing he worked hard to is bending over. So, seriously, bending over. You guys know, right? You know the truth about him. What else is new? I need to say, we still got crisis actors up for hire. If you guys don't know that, Craigslist is hiring crisis actors. They want crisis actors to work in Ukraine. They're looking for crisis actors to work in Ukraine to make a video. Really? Crisis actors in Ukraine? Are you kidding me? And that's what I saw. It's on Craigslist. Yeah. Let's see. One more thing. Yeah. I do know, and I will say this, I do know that the federal marshals are there in Quebec at the Parliament building. They're sent down there by Trump's people. I know that, to do the major cleanup. Whatever's left to be doing a cleanup. Let's see. Scott says the biggest thing to me lately was HR 8873 and the stick study showed DNA inclusion. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we already know about that part. So, anyways, like I said, marshals are down. The federal marshals are in Canada right now. They're in Quebec. Trump has had them there. They've been actually pretend to be police officers as well. I mean, no, sorry, take it back. When we had our protest, our truckers convoy, when that happened last January, it was January, I think it's January, February, when we had our protest up in Quebec, in Ottawa, one thing I did see just before the end of finishing the protest were the new groups of police officers, supposed to be police officers, coming in. A friend of mine video recorded, he was there, and he video recorded these officers that were wearing the yellow vests, the uniforms, and you swear that they could be officers. And I'm thinking, wait a minute here, if someone said that there was 90% police officers and 90% of the RCMP refused, Ottawa Police and the RCMP refused to help out to take the people off the street, then who are the remaining 10%? And yet, I found out later that neither officers that worked for the Canadian government were on those horses. Neither officers that were beating on the citizens were Canadian either. When I took a photograph of their uniform, I noticed on the left side of their vest, and I'm sure Scott can confirm that, there in our country we don't have a picture of the eagle clutching three arrows in each claw, in each clutch of an eagle. That clutch, that very same picture, was on the vest, and it said Ottawa Police or Canadian Police. Now you tell me who they were, and I know who they were because I did the research. I found out later that was a Canadian, that was an American military, American Army, that were hired to be police officers to beat the snot out of us Canadian people, and they got away with it. Okay? So you tell me why, and this is when Trudeau was at his strongest. I mean, at the time, why did he hire them to beat the snot out of our people? Because they were trying to say that we're violent. None of our people were violent. In fact, 3 or 4 people had died. 3 or 4 people of the other protesters had died by the hands of those people, by the hands of those fake officers. And was that ever mentioned on the mainstream media? No. But I got photographs of it. I actually did a detail on it. I did a close up on it. And I know Scott would understand because there's a lot of American people that would know that in your symbolism, American symbolism is your eagle that spreads, like the wings are out this way and the claws are out this way, the talons are out, and you got clutch of 3 arrows in this claw and clutch of 3 arrows. Now that's American Army. Why was that symbol, that tag, doing on a Canadian citizen, a Canadian officer, on that vest? And it said, police. And I thought to myself, okay, what gives them the right to come after and beat on our people? Well, guess what? Because I remember when I watched the video where they billy clubbed our citizens. Well, number one, our Canadian police would never, ever billy club our people. I've never seen hardly an officer ever billy club our people, but it's very prevalent and prominent a lot in the States. That's how they're trained. American military, that's how they're trained. So, it's getting to be, yeah. See, arrows in the right claw, olive branch in the left claw, yes. And that's what I saw. That's American military. So, yeah, Key says we burned down the White House. Yeah, 1776. No, no, 1812. War of 1812. Yeah, we did try to burn the White House, but it was a black house back then. It wasn't white. Let's see. Fishy says some of the independent YouTube were saying 2 UN planes landed in North Bay. When those officers came in, some people said that they didn't speak English, were careful not to speak. Do you guys get it? Do you understand what I'm talking about now? So, yeah, that's because the wings are out. See if I got that. I'll bring it up. So I'm gonna bring up the file. I had it here. See if I got the right one at all. Let's see. That was there. But I did a close-up on the vest. Like I said before, I was not impressed with what they had done. Because they nailed one guy in the head. He didn't make it. He died in their arms, and they said, "Oh, he faked it. That he fell. He never fell. They pulled him down the ground and put the beatings on him." But there's 3 arrows in each clutch. It was looked like 3 arrows this way, in each clutch. We don't have, our country does not have eagle with 3 arrows in each clutch. That's American. And when I looked up the American Army, that was there. Now, they have American Army and they have American Special Forces, Army's forces, which basically is supposed to be the 3 clutches in both, and that could be Special Forces. But why were they brought in? For a reason. Why they do harm to our people? Now, I'm hoping that these people that got beat faked their death, because unless they're crisis actors that were hired for some dumbass reason, then I would say, okay, whatever, right? But there's more to this. I'll have to send you the pictures, Scott, and you can have a look at it and review it yourself. But I know if you go into my True North Strong and Free page on Facebook, I have it in there. You'll see that'll go back last year. I think it's last year. No, it was this year. This year of just the wintertime, during the truckers convoy. You probably, well, you'll see the pictures because I was sharing that with the people. Yeah, and that should be in my True North Stronger free page. See quickly, see if it's there. I have so many pics. You know, it'd be kind of cool if we had 2 assistant prime ministers, and that would be the Mackenzie brothers, Bob and Doug Mackenzie. How's it going, eh? Take off, eh? Welcome to Great White North. Yeah, our new song for Canada goes coo 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 coo. Oh, that would be hilarious. Okay, now let's see. Yeah, you're right. United States Army. It is, yeah, olive branch and one, um, and the clutch of eagle feathers on the right. So it's like you're looking at it. Yeah, you're right, Scott. Clutch of eagle feathers on the right, and then there's olive branch on the left. And I will show you. I'm going to move this page to this page like that. And I have those on Facebook get to see it. You guys will probably have to go to Facebook and find it. But here's what it looks like. Now, if you look really close, what do you see? You see a sword going through the top of the shield. In that shield is an eagle with clutches on both sides. That's not our country. I already know it. Now, is the sword in that shield Q? Ooh. Okay, that's my close-up before I do my research. Something to think about. So I'm gonna have to start getting my OBS all set up so I can get you guys to see it on the screens from YouTube as well. Let's see, Fishy Fan. I heard on Sunday. Okay, I heard as of Sunday the U.S. Marshals were in Ottawa. Hi from Alberta. Thank you, Fishy. Some of the independent YouTube saying the 2 UN planes landed in North Bay. Yeah. When those officers came in, some of the people said they didn't speak English, right? Those troops were very careful not to disclose they were foreign. I was on a Zello trucker channel during the protests. The truckers' convoy started in February. Thank you. It was February. Yeah. So this, like I said before, it's something to think about, and that shield, that particular button, and why is it so prevalent that they take great pride playing the role, but they were not our officers. We don't have that sword in our symbols. I know that, not in Canada. We don't have that sword. So there is something more to this, right? So like I said, anybody who's in the YouTube chat room, have a look in the Facebook chat room. You'll see the photo. You guys can make your own decision. Anybody who's American maybe might know what this means, and have a look in there and see what happens from there. Let's see, Ms. Gidget, hello. Ms. Gidget, Kennedy line, airality in family tree, Well, okay. Nice to see you, Ms. Gidget. Okay, yeah, give me time. I'd ID it and I'll let you know. Sure. And like you said, you may know somebody who is in the military may know what this is. I'm curious, but I got a funny feeling because, like I said, it looks like 2 eagle feathers, or 2 eagle, 1 eagle, and the both clutches are out, and I can see the arrows cross over both sides. I did not see the olive branch on the other side of that clutch. To me, it looked like 2 arrows on each side. So to me, that's special forces. But that's a sword in the center. Now I've seen that similar sword come down, and that similar sword looks like Q. One of Kennedy's, maybe. maybe. So we'll see. Right? Okay, guys, I want to thank you guys for being on the program. And those that called in, thank you for calling in, all those. And really appreciate you guys a whole lot. I'm going to love you and leave you and let you know, as of September the 30th, which is tomorrow, is the Truth and Reconciliation Day. Those who actually have not worn any orange shirts to honor the missing children, as well as Every Child Matters. If you guys do have a shirt, find yourself one. If you don't have one, that's fine. It's great to know that we basically they turned it into, as of September 30th in Canada, they're making this into a holiday. Well, that's not what it was meant to be. It was supposed to be acknowledging. It was supposed to be to recognize the fact that missing children from the residential schools, and we have well over 100,000 that went missing by the hands of the church and all these priests, and yet there was starvation, sickness, death, you name it, what they had done to the kids, and even as far as murder, even rape and murder was everything, and including the Queen being involved. And we lost 10 kids on account of her and Philip. So, and that was up in Kamloops. But anyways, we're having that. We're having a candlelight vigil tomorrow. It's between 7 and 9 p.m. in Langley. Those who may not, if you're in the region, I'm going to be there. Also, if you're not going to be there, if you want to light a candle for them, love to, just to honor them. It's a wonderful thing to do. And also, like I said before, this was not meant to be a holiday. It was more for recognition. So, but the beginning of October is going to be a very prevalent week. Because next week will probably be holy crap. My birthday's almost there too. Man, I'm gonna be an old man sooner. So, anyways, I want to love you guys and love and leave you. Be God be good with you all, and you guys pray as often as you want. There's no specific days to pray. If you want to send healing to people, send healing to people. Thank you for coming on the program. Thank you for those calling in, and I'm gonna let you guys go. Let's see here. My song. Where is my song? Take care, guys. Where are you? Lost my music. There it is. Done.
Everyone lives, everyone dies. Everyone loves, everyone cries. Round the world we're all alike. So why is there war? Why do we fight? One sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we always gotta live together. Peace, make peace, make peace, peace. Alright, isn't it time to stop dying? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all feel, we gotta learn to live see